The story takes place in a world where the human race is nearing extinction at the hands of the beasts. Humans are incredibly scarce and beasts are rampant. In Island 28, in the town of Grimchel, a blue-haired girl named Cathalie chases a cat that has stolen her necklace. Cornered, the cat attacks Cathalie and causes her to fall off. A cloaked man named Willem rushes to her aid and cushions her fall, saving her life. The cat flees. Cathalie notices the crowd around her, wondering what the hell she's doing here since she has no fur like the rest of them. Before she leaves, Willem holds her hands and gives her back the brooch. Willem then takes her with him and buys her a nice-looking hat. He also reminds her that this is no place for tourism, as there are no specialties for those with no horns, fangs, or fur on their skin. At night, Willem visits his friend Grick, who lands him a job as a caretaker in a military facility. As Willem refuses, Grick tells him to shut up, get a life, make some cash, and leave his debt-ridden lifestyle behind. Willem accepts and remarks the coffee's a little salty. Approaching the facility, Willem is attacked by a little girl and ends up falling off into the river, cushioning the girl's fall, shortly before Cathalie finds them. After he gets cleaned and wears his uniform, Willem meets the maid, Naglatho, the man-eating troll. As she invites him in, Naglatho covets Willem's human flesh and remarks that he's a rare feast in her eyes. After she serves him tea and biscuits, Naglatho asks Willem if she can eat him. Willem tells her to knock it off and get down to business. Willem is briefed about the job and learns that he has to take care of the weapons warehouse. More so, he learns that 2 caretakers before quit the job before their first day even started. However, Willem doesn't want to quit a job he's landed. As Willem inquires about the kind of weapons he's supposed to look after, Naglatho catches the little girls in the facility eavesdropping and tells them to go to bed while ending her conversation with Willem. Shortly after, Willem enters his room and lies in bed. He then catches the girls spying on him, after which he shushes them and lets them in. The girls introduce themselves, Colin, Panable, Tiet, and Lakesh. Dying of curiosity, the girls ask Willem some frivolous personal questions, which Willem happily answers, earning him their admiration. Cathalie chimes in and has the girls go to bed. Willem asks if this is the warehouse he's supposed to take care of, which Cathalie confirms. Willem then asks where are the weapons he's supposed to be looking after. More so, he asks what the hell those little girls are doing in a military facility. Cathalie reveals that she and the other girls are the weapons he's hired to take care of. The next morning, Willem gets to know Cathalie's friends, the boisterous Ithia and the capricious Nephrin. Soon after, Willem treats the girls to a meal and makes them some cream caramel. As he watches them play, a girl named Almeida falls off the cliff as she gets the ball, much to Willem's horror. Willem checks on her, however, she's alive but nonchalant about her wound and blood-stained face, shocking Willem. Willem comes to realize that all the girls don't care about their lives and asks Naglatho what the hell they are anyway. In order to answer his questions, Naglatho takes Willem to the basement, where she reveals sizable magical swords belonging to human beings called Dug weapons. Willem recognizes them as the swords only brave humans could use to fight off the 17 beasts that attacked 500 years ago. Those little girls are leprechauns or fairies imitating humans. Now that the humans are gone, those girls are the ones who can wield those swords, which is why Willem needs to take care of them. Days later, Willem welcomes back Ithia and a worn-out Cathalie who were on a mission fighting beasts with the Dug weapons which he is tasked with returning to the vault. On the way back, Ithia asks Willem if it gives him the creeps to look after weapons, more like fairies, adding that fairies are disposable. More so, they wield relic swords belonging to the dying race of humans. Willem suddenly halts after recalling a girl he knew a long time ago whom he owes a great deal. Ithia reminds him of that girl. Hearing that, Ithia starts thinking Willem is confessing to her, but Willem reminds her he's carrying a sleeping girl now. At the infirmary, CH slowly wakes up to find Willem by her side. She asks Willem if he could be a little nicer to her. Why? Because, according to her prediction, the island will undergo a powerful air attack in 5 days, as it cannot be fought off by fairy girls wielding humans' Dug weapons. Later that night, Willem starts looking for records about Timry attacks to know more about the frequency and timing of those attacks. Nephrin drops by and offers to help. The next morning, Cathalie wakes up, feeling bad about asking Willem to be a little nicer to her the previous night. She walks in the record room to find him with Nephrin sleeping in his lap. Willem tells her he was trying to find another way to avoid the Timry attacks. Cathalie thinks it's impossible. To her, the only way to stop the attack is by fighting back. Willem opens the curtain, tells her to lighten up and asks if she wants to spar with him. Outside, the two are to duel using Dug weapons. Cathalie activates her sword and lunges at Willem, but Willem blocks her attack, sending her flying backwards. Incredulous, Cathalie attacks but fails once more. Willem explains that his Dug weapon used Cathalie's power against her when it hit her blade, which is why she was sent flying, much to her frustration. Willem then taunts her in, telling her there's only so much she doesn't know about Dug weapons, and that there's another way to fight off the impending attack other than swinging her sword with brute force. Cantankerous, Cathalie dashes into him, the two exchange more blows. Eventually, Cathalie loses, as Willem commends her for her instincts, but tells her to change her fighting style to survive instead of going kamikaze like the fairies before her, killing herself in the process. Drained from using the dug weapon, Willem collapses, with blood coming out of his mouth. 500 years earlier, we find out Willem was battling a beast. The beast intends to enter a slumber for a century but doesn't want to give Willem a quick and peaceful death. After the beast implodes, Willem gets frozen and cursed, as he hopes his friend would forgive him. Back to the present, Willem awakes to find a worried sick Naglatho by his side. Naglatho asks Willem why his organs and muscles are so weak. More so, his bones are susceptible to breaking, which Willem shrugs it off as scars from the past. Later that evening, Naglatho reveals to the fairies that she found Willem along with a group of explorers frozen in a lake, which she attributes to a petrification curse which paralyzed him. After she transported him to her island, he woke up, crazed, wild, and reserved. Furthermore, Willem was the sole survivor of the whole human race. Therefore, Naglatho tells the fairies not to hate or fear Willem, prompting the fairies to swarm Willem as if he were a celebrity in their midst. After the kids clear out, Ithia walks in, teases Willem and wonders why a human would care so much for another race by risking his life for no real reason. Ithia just finds it disgusting. Willem replies it's natural to care for cute kids, especially if they're girls, to which Ithia argues that they are only cute in appearance and that they're all girls, so gender is beside the point. However, Willem remarks their appearance is attractive. An attractive appearance is a manifestation of one's desire to be loved. That desire is why they're attractive. To Willem, this applies to the fairy girls as a race. Ithia takes it the wrong way, remarking that Willem is in love with them. Catholi silently takes off, spreads her butterfly wings and flies away. Devastated by her thoughts and memories, Catholi decides to let go and fall to her death. Before she can do so, a ship happens to be passing nearby and picks her up. In the ship, Officer Limeskin treats her to a warm drink and asks why she was out in the wind alone. Catholi explains she just felt afraid of dying and frustrated about how Willem told her that her fighting style is wrong and that she should adopt a different fighting style, which means that the old fairies died in vain, something Catholi fears and finds hard to accept. Limeskin laughs and gives her a word of wisdom that she, as a warrior, should have some resolve and brains. That was what Willem wanted for her. Afterwards, Catholi returns to find Willem doing some maintenance on her dug weapon, welcoming her back. Catholi remarks that no one can disassemble a dug weapon without the wielder's permission, but she's proven wrong when Willem succeeds in doing so. Catholi then learns that dug weapons are made of talismans that are put together in the shape of a sword. Each talisman has its own function. Catholi marvels at their beauty as she flicks a floating talisman. That talisman, as Willem explains, prevents its wielder's tongue from burning from hot drink. The one next to it functions more like a compass. It lets its wielder know where north is and where south is, even in a place they've never been. There are also talismans that prevent the wielder from having nightmares when having a cold. All of those talismans are magically connected, as they can cause a complex reaction, which gives them entirely new effects. Catholi then brings up her conversation with Limeskin. Willem promises to do anything for her if she succeeds in fending off the air attack, but excludes the wish of starting a romantic relationship. All the talismans are connected now. Willem reassembles the sword and tells Catholi to come back alive no matter what. The next day, Willem tells Grick how it's been going with his job so far. Ithia, Catholi, and Nephron are sent out to stop the impending attack.